When it comes to automatic chronographs that have a 1970s vibe, I'm an absolute sucker. I love watches like this. This thing here looks like it came straight out of 1970. Be it an Omega Speedmaster, some sort of Seiko chronograph, it looks impressive. It is made, it's finished beautifully, it's actually made in Japan. It's got an automatic Seiko movement in it running at 28,800 vibrations per hour. The chronograph functions, tachymetric scale, brilliant. It's designed really well, and I really wanted to check this thing out because that dial, it is amazing in different lighting situations, and it's screaming 1970s. Let's check this thing out. Welcome back, guys. As you can see here, we've got a watch. It's called the Soldat Promessa. It's a very interesting watch because everything about this watch is screaming 1970s. From the layout, the tachymetric scale, the chronograph, the fact that this has a chunky case. The profile of that case, to me, it reminds me of some sort of vintage Seiko or possibly an Omega Speedmaster of sorts. It's chunky, it's bold, it's bright, it's not pretending to fit in, and I love that. I've placed it on this shark mesh bracelet as I think it suits the style but also counterbalances the weight of the watch head. This is actually an aftermarket bracelet that I had lying around, so I decided to put it on this bracelet. This particular one, the red one, it actually comes with a seatbelt style strap, as you can see. Pretty nice. It's a little brown, reddish. I can see the suitability, but for me, I wanted to match it up with something different just to, you know what, if we're going to talk about 1970s, let's talk about 1970s. So this is pretty cool. Now there's several different colorways of this watch. The red one that I've got here, as you can see, but there's also a green one and a blue one. Now I'll get into the specs of the watch firstly, and then I'll show you what it costs. They've also given me a discount code for you guys. We're going to get 15% off. So what I measure is a case diameter of exactly 42 millimeters. I have a case height of 14.2 mil. We have a lug to lug of 49.9 and a lug width of 20 mil. Now the crown is signed, it's a push-pull crown and it offers 50 meters of water resistance, and the total weight of the watch on this shark mesh sized to my 18 centimeter wrist is 173 grams, and the watch head alone is 111 grams. And on the wrist, this thing is beautiful. It's screaming 1970s. It's actually a tri-register, as you can see. It looks like the two sub-dials just at the 9 and at the 3. So there's a hidden one at the 6 o'clock. It's in the same color, that same beautiful candy apple red sunburst style. It's lovely. It's like a maroon. It's very stylized. I think it's done tastefully, and the texture of that dial is superb. Sitting on the wrist, as you can see, the lug to lug is 49.9. That case height coming in at 14.2 or 14.3 thereabouts. For me, it's a top heavy watch, and that's why I've placed it on this particular strap, just to make it a little bit more balanced. I found that coming on, I've played around with different generic types of straps, something like this. I had this lying around, just a generic leather strap. Put it on, looks nice, but I find that the top heaviness of the watch does not suit this. And even the blue one with the orange accents, as you can see, is lovely. The strap is superb, the quality of the strap is great, but again, the watch is a little bit top heavy. I think if you're going to match this up with a particular strap, it'd probably go really well with a Bund strap or even a thick leather strap, something with a bit more substance. Now the heart of the watch is a Seiko Series 2 NE88. It's beating at 28,800 vibrations per hour. I've put this on the time grapher. It seems to be running very healthily, and I'll tell you what, it's a pretty strong, robust movement. Now what I like about this watch, it says it's made in Japan, and you know what, you can tell if you get close-ups of that dial and the quality finishing, the attention to detail, the crispness of the printing and subdials is absolutely beautiful. Really, really well executed. As you can see, the finishing of the watch, it's a combination of fine brushing everywhere, and the bezel itself is highly polished. So very reminiscent of the 70s. I think they've done it well. I really do. It's got such a presence on the wrist. I've had comments from people looking at this thinking it's a vintage watch, which shows me that they've achieved their goal. Now the price of this red watch comes in at $1,150 on the seat belt, and the blue and green coming at $1,250. However, they've also given me a discount code for you guys to use, and if you use that code, you get 15% off that price. That's only for my viewers. So at that price, I think this watch is a lot of watch. It's a really good deal. And you know what? This hobby is about fun and collecting stuff. And I've had vintage watches. I've had a few of them. They're not without their problems. You really got to baby them. You really got to wear them in today's society, the way our lifestyles dictate. They're not as robust. They're beautiful. They're fantastic. Trying to get parts, trying to source things, if you do damage them, they're difficult. So when manufacturers make something that mimics the 70s, the 60s, the racing, love it. I really do. So this is quite unique in its colorway, thoroughly immersed in that dial. I think they've executed it just beautifully. Now, as you can see, the chronograph is running at the moment. If I just press the stop button, it stops and we can reset it back to the middle. So very simple functionality: start, stop, reset. Now, if we look at that crown, it's a 6.7mm crown. It's a push-pull. I can pull it out. It hacks the movement. So as you can see, the 3 o'clock subdial, the seconds have stopped. We can adjust the time to wherever we want, and we can start her up again. The hand winding experience is quite nice, but like I said, this is an automatic, so through your motion of the day, the watch will be winding itself. Now, looking close at the 12-hour register, the subdial at the 6, that's got a little date complication just hidden in there. And it's nicely balanced because you don't realize that it's actually there until you look, which is pretty cool. Now, there's one thing that this watch features that some of the old vintage watches don't have, well, they don't have them anymore, and that's lume. But don't expect the dive watch experience. It's not super bright. In fact, the indices themselves are so-so. The hands, not too bad. But then again, it is a sports chronograph. It's not designed as a dive watch. Lastly, the crystal of this watch is a sapphire crystal. It's flat. It's got anti-reflective coating on the underside. For me personally, I think it could have done with a lot more AR. It just seems to be lacking. There's not full washout, but just for legibility, I would have loved to see a little bit more anti-reflective coating just to elevate the viewing experience that much more. Now, all watches have pluses and minuses, and with this particular one here, I'll touch on the negatives first. And what I see is, for me personally, that case shape, if they basically made a thick bevel at the bottom of that case, it just would have made that profile look a little bit thinner. It's already got a bevel under there, but it's very fine. I just would have liked a thicker bevel. In experiencing this watch, it just would have made it optically on the wrist, it would have looked a little bit thinner. The sapphire crystal, it definitely needs a lot more AR. That's my opinion. I think it would have really benefited. That's a given. The lume is so-so on the indices. On the handset's good, but the indices, not so much. And another thing that I noticed on the watch, and this is just more of a personal view rather than a negative, I look at the logo S, then Soldat, then Promessa. I would have preferred to remove one of those from up there. Maybe the Soldat, just leave the S and the Promessa, or either way, maybe an applied logo would have been really nice just to elevate the watch a little bit more. In saying that, there's only 3 lines. It's pretty cool. It's not too much. It's not overbearing, but it does seem to balance out really well. And last negative is potentially the price. Coming in at $11.50 in this variation, it's not inexpensive, but with a 15% discount that they've given us with our code, gee, that's worth it. For me, this is a lot of watch, a lot of really well-made watch, so I like it. Moving away from the negatives, what are the positives of this watch? Excellent layout, good legibility, the printing very sharp, very crisp. I'm really impressed at what I'm seeing here in the hand. That dial is superb. The movement, 28,800 vibrations, automatic Seiko chronograph, really well done. The build and the finishing is quite good at this price point as well. The quality of the leather strap on the blue watch was quite nice, albeit it is a little bit head heavy. I'd prefer a little bit more mass underneath the watch, something more substance to balance it out. And the last couple of positives, made in Japan and drilled lugs. I've been swapping out straps with this thing, so the drilled lugs have been really easy. Can't fault it in that department. So I wanted to share this on the channel, guys. It's a very inspired 60s, 70s racing watch, especially with that case shape. Let me know what you think. Some people might find the 49.9mm lug to lug a little bit on the big side, but it does wear well on the wrist. As far as a nod back to the 70s, love it. I think they've done really well. The color, it's just superb. I don't know if my video is going to do this justice, but the quality and the color of that dial is really nice, especially with those subdials. They're not actually white. They're more like a silver off-white, which I think works really well with a deep candy apple red. So thanks again for watching, guys. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section, and we'll see you all in the next video.